Okay, I read a book a long time ago called Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East by Baird T. Spalding, and there was about six books in the series. And it took place in the very late 1800s, or maybe even like 1902 or something. And it was an expedition that started in India and went up into perhaps Tibet, the Gobi Desert, places like that. And what happened was Baird T. Spalding and his group, when they got to India, they met some guides. And these guides, lo and behold, after they've been around them for a while, they discovered that they were what they called masters. And they had maybe you'd call them psychic abilities. They'd have special abilities. In the Hindu text or ancient Sanskrit, which is the ancient Hindu language, these are known as siddhis, Siddhi, siddhi, which are spiritual powers such as teleportation, which is I'm here and then the next moment I'm going to be way over there by the trees. Levitation, all kinds of things that we don't see in our day-to-day life, but they're written about in spiritual texts. They're also written about in the book Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramhansa Yogananda, and other textbooks, I'm sure, talk about them, but that's two. Anyways, with Baird T. Spalding and his expedition, at one point they get to, I don't know, maybe it was a temple or something, and out of nothing, they're just in an empty room, all of a sudden people appeared. And one person appeared who claimed to be Jesus, and then another person appeared next to Jesus who claimed to be Pontius Pilate. And the person claiming to be Jesus said, "Dear Pilate," he's my best friend now, even though back, 2,000 years ago, he was the one that sent me to my death on the crucifixion. It's just a book. Don't look at me that way. I didn't write it. Strangely, the book was published by Divorce Publishing, and Divorce is in Marina del Rey, which is part of Los Angeles. I'm not really sure all these little cities that are part of Los Angeles, or they're suburbs of Los Angeles, and they're not Los Angeles, but they're right near Los Angeles. And it was the first set of books that was published by Divorce Publishing. And Divorce still exists. Devorrs. It's not divorce, as if I'm going to give you a divorce, my wife. Divorce. And we think the guy's name was Doug Divorce, but I'm not sure. I have to look it up. Anyway, that's the story of Life and Teachings. That somehow Pontius Pilate, who was most likely of a fairly low calibration, sending people off to their deaths by crucifixion for what crime exactly did Jesus do that he was crucified for? It seems to be kind of maybe a religious crime. I'm going to have to go back and reread the story of Jesus to try and figure out what exact crime was he crucified. Maybe if you're a bibliophile and you know the Bible back and forth, you can tell me exactly why Pontius Pilate and the Jewish priesthood, and was it King Herod too? Why they murdered Jesus using the tools of the state. Anyways, in this book, apparently all is forgiven under Dear Pilate, Jesus says. I don't know how to go into the next topic, which is an episode of Looney Tunes. You'll remember Looney Tunes, which is Bugs Bunny and all the other Looney Tune characters. And the particular episode I'm remembering is, I'm pretty sure it's a dog, and the dog is an actor and shows up and uses an old-fashioned punch card. The punch card system was used in factories everywhere many years ago, and it was a paper card, and you put it into a punch machine. The punch machine stamped the card, or punched the card, in other words, made holes in the card, to indicate that you showed up on time, and then you might punch out again at the end of the day to say that you actually were at the factory until 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or whenever it was you were supposed to stop working. So in this Looney Tunes, and remember Looney Tunes, even today they're very excellent, but they were made, let's say, starting in around 1950. So a long time ago. And it shows the dog showing up at work as an actor and punching the clock. And then the actor, which is the appearance of a dog. So in other words, the dog, when he's not being an actor in the Looney Tune, has got a life of his own. And his opponent in this Looney Tune, which it's being blocked from me, to tell you the truth. I mean, if I was a normal human, I would remember it, but I can't right now because for the sake of the story, they're not letting me know what it is, even though I've seen this Looney Tune on several occasions. But anyway, his opponent in the Looney Tune shows up as well. And, they know each other as actors, and they sort of say good morning, and they're half asleep. They haven't had enough coffee. And they both punch in, and then they go into the Looney Tune where they're enemies for the sake of the Looney Tune episode. So, when I talk about the demonics, Edgar Jesus Martinez and King Clancy, otherwise known as Chief Clancy Wiggum of The Simpsons, we want to figure out, well, are these voice actors? Mel Blanc was a voice actor who voiced a lot of the characters in the Looney Tunes. Is there a human who is giving me these voices using scalar wave technology to implant via synthetic telepathy, or are they really advanced masters using city powers, supernatural powers, spiritual powers, to use telepathy to get this experience into my body and my brain? In other words, Clancy Wiggum and Jesus Martinez are just characters for the Looney Tune of my day-to-day life, and they're really real people who are just acting like demonics so that I can talk about demonics to you on YouTube and Instagram day after day, month after month, for multiple years. And then I can look to see no one watched my video, or 3 people watched part of it or something. It seems pointless to me, but they want to say this is one possible thing that's going on. And that when we're not playing the part of your nemesis, we've got lives outside of torturing you. I always say, you're torturing me whether you're acting this way or not, so you're demonic. Are we ever going to be friends somewhere like Jesus and Pontius Pilate in Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East? They say you can hope. I always tell them, if I'm given the opportunity to delete you from existence, I'm going to grab the delete button and push it. It's just gone on too long. They keep saying this from time to time, but it's gone on too long. And the next hard question of consciousness is, How do you delete consciousness? I mean, you can delete physical things. In other words, in the old days, they used to hang murderers and rapists. And then you have, got a dead body to either cremate or bury 6 feet under the ground. The body was dead. You didn't experience the consciousness that was animating that body anymore. But the problem of that is I don't see the physical bodies of these different spirits. I call them spirits because they're non-visible, but I can hear them, and sometimes they can move my body. So how would you delete spirits? How would you delete conscious beings that don't have a physicality around you? But then I also remind you that, I'll give you this scenario. The U.S. military using drone strikes in, let's say, Afghanistan. The U.S. military have got military installations, say, in somewhere in the United States. And they've got military personnel that drive to the base, and then they walk into the military installation, and then they go into the room where they work. And they've got joysticks there, and they've got screens of satellite images of Afghanistan and potential targets. And then they've got Raptor drones flying around and over Afghanistan. But these people are way on the other side of the planet, military installations of the United States, and they are targeting people in Afghanistan to be killed by munitions from the Raptor drone. And if they've got secret technology called scalar wave technology, they can do psychological warfare on these humans because they've got the ability to beam. There's various other ways. You can also do it apparently by microwave or other things, but they could make voices appear in these Afghan people's minds, because you could use microwaves and you can vibrate the skull very quickly and it can make noise. This was even going to be commercialized. I saw it one time. It was maybe in a popular science magazine many years ago. But you could send sound making waves at a window and turn a glass window into a speaker to make the air molecules move and make sound in the room. So a lot of these technologies, they really didn't get off the ground too far, but I did see them written up. So, and then the story I haven't told for a while, but it was reported in the news that people at the U.S. Embassy in Cuba were feeling very sick, and they hauled those people out of Cuba, and they blamed microwave weapons being used by the Cubans on the Americans. So, I mean, if you look, it's not like I'm making this up. This is all available. You just go looking for it on the internet. NBC News was the Cuban story. So, I mean, it's quite possible that humans are using high technology to gang stalk people like me. Multiple ways to explain my day-to-day experience. Some people just say, Bob, you're a kook. Thanks for watching. I'm Harry Weaver.